So, for those of you who have been paying attention, it's no surprise that the American justice system is fundamentally broken, especially when it comes to state-sanctioned violence against Black Americans. And we really learned yet again just how broken it is due to a string of news stories that came out this week. So when it comes to Alton Sterling, who was executed by Baton Rouge police, again, he's an unarmed man who was pinned to the ground that was shot and killed. Well, we learned that his family won't even have the chance to make their case in court because there will be no charges filed against the police officers that killed him in cold blood. Now, according to the Louisiana Attorney General, quote, "We have concluded that the officers in question acted as reasonable officers under existing law and were justified in their use of force." He was pinned to the ground by two police officers. He was shot and killed when he didn't have to be shot and killed. He didn't have a gun. And the Attorney General is contending that they acted legitimately. They're not even going to have charges brought against them. How are you supposed to legitimize the American justice system and cultivate legitimacy for the American system, American political system, more generally speaking, if this happens? People lose faith in the system if it doesn't work, and it's not working. Now, we also got some news regarding Sam Dubose, who was shot and killed, again, unarmed, by Officer Ray Tensing. And Ray Tensing actually was charged with murder and voluntary manslaughter. However, he was never convicted because after two separate trials, both ending with deadlocked juries, well, the Hamilton County prosecutor announced that he would not be trying for a third conviction. So Ray Tensing will walk free. But this story takes an even weirder turn because Tensing is now being awarded with $350,000 in the form of a settlement. So as HuffPost reports, the University of Cincinnati on Thursday awarded the officer who shot and killed unarmed Black motorist Sam Dubose with a settlement worth nearly $350,000, according to the Cincinnati Enquirer. The settlement comes after the Ohio Police Union filed a grievance for University of Cincinnati officer Raymond Tensing, who was fired following Dubose's 2015 death. Tensing agreed to officially resign in exchange for $244,000 in back pay and benefits and $100,000 for legal fees. So Ray Tensing isn't going to be convicted for killing Sam Dubose, and now he's effectively being rewarded for killing Sam Dubose. And it gets even worse because there was another unarmed Black man who was shot and killed this week. His name is Stephon Clark. Now, as Sebastian Murdoch of HuffPost reports, police fatally shot an unarmed Black man in Sacramento, California on Sunday night after two officers mistook his cell phone for a weapon. Police responded to the area near 22-year-old Stephon Clark's home after receiving calls that someone in the neighborhood was breaking car windows, the Sacramento Bee reported. Police dispatched a helicopter to the area, which began following the movements of Clark. The helicopter crew said it saw a man break the sliding glass door of a home before jumping a fence into another backyard. Police confronted Clark, who they said ran from officers. At about 9:30 p.m., two officers confronted Clark outside the property where he lived with his grandparents and two young children. Police and Clark advanced on them with an object in his hand. Fearing for their safety, the officers began firing at Clark, hitting him multiple times, the department said. Two officers each fired 10 shots at Clark, though it was not immediately clear how many times he was struck. Police said they believed Clark was armed with a gun, though no weapon was found. The department then said they believed Clark was carrying a toolbar used to smash windows. Instead, they found only a cell phone on him. Now, a video released by the Sacramento Police Department sheds a little bit more light on what happened.
Just broke the window, running south, running to the south. So let's get more units back up. Running south, he just broke the window, I believe, on the house. But he's one house to the south right now, gonna run. Okay, he's running towards the front yard. All I can tell is he's got a hoodie on. He's running towards the front yard of 29th Street. 29th Street. He's looking into another car that's in between the fence and the front yard. Started ground unit Scott, so it looks like might be getting one at gunpoint. Copy, one at gunpoint. Okay, let's get a perimeter on this. Guy's running south. He's going to hit this field. He's at one further house to 1 yard to the south. 2 minutes trying to catch him. Hi, Cornelia, go ahead. Shots fired. Charger with black Eagle plates. Just on the boat. Come in from the west to east. The show. Let's start fire and let's get ammunition coming. Copy, 947. Copy, fire starting.
Now, when I watched this video, I looked at the comment section, which, rule number 1, never look at the comment section for videos. There were a lot of people basically siding with police officers because what he was doing looked suspicious. He, jumped over a fence, he was looking in cars. But if you think that justifies him being shot 20 times, even if he did break into cars, hypothetically speaking, we don't know that that's the case, but even if he did, if you think being shot 20 times was justified, then you fundamentally misunderstand not only how our justice system works, but the concept of justice altogether, because being executed is not a proportional response to someone that allegedly was robbing cars. If he was guilty, you apprehend him and try to go for a conviction. You don't murder him on the spot. But clearly, many cops in this country aren't trained properly to de-escalate situations, which is what they're supposed to do, hence why we see so many killings. Now, Stephon Clark's grandmother was there when he was shot and killed, and what she has to say, it's gut-wrenching.
They didn't have to kill him like that. They didn't have to shoot him that many times. And the detectives that came in, they kept telling me, don't go outside or go in the back. I said, well, what happened? I hope y'all didn't kill one of my grandkids, because they come to the back door, to the window, and my husband just pulled the garage up. And he's at home. He was at home. He was there that day. We was looking at his sister dead, do the praise that she made up. He was crying, and I said, how old you gonna be? And he said, Grandma, I'll be 24 in August. My grandson was 23 years old. And then now my great-grandbabies don't have their daddy because they didn't even stop. Why did you just shoot him in the arm, shoot him in the leg, send a dog, send a taser? Why? Why? Y'all didn't have to do that. Y'all didn't have to over a cell phone. I just want justice for my grandson, for my daughter. My poor baby's in so much pain. She's in pain, and the brothers, he ain't got but 2 brothers. Justice. Justice. I want justice for my baby. I want justice for Stephon Clark. That's right. Please give us justice.
So that was incredibly difficult to get through. To see the pain that this caused. It goes without saying, she absolutely deserves justice. But after seeing the other news stories from Sam Dubose and Alton Sterling, I'm not convinced that Stephon Clark's grandmother will, in fact, see that there's justice for her grandson. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's probably not going to be justice for Stephon Clark because I'm trying to be callous. But our justice system is set up in a way that makes justice for victims of police brutality highly improbable. So the only way to get justice is to demand it in the form of criminal justice reform. And this issue is extremely complex. There's a lot of things we can and need to do to stop this. But you can start by supporting efforts by activist Shaun King, for example, who actually created a group akin to Justice Democrats that aims to elect progressive prosecutors. So when these types of tragedies occur, justice is in fact possible. But even more importantly, is doing everything in our power to prevent these types of things from happening in the first place. And comprehensive criminal justice reform is what's needed. Now, the problem is that I don't ever hear politicians who claim to care about this issue, i.e. Democrats, talk about this unless there is an election coming up. Now, I get it. There's a lot of issues going on. The people in Flint, Michigan are just now getting clean drinking water, but some people still don't have clean drinking water. In fact, a lot of people don't. We have wars going on in multiple countries, so I get it. There's a lot of issues, and it's so difficult to focus on just one issue. But we have to keep the pressure on because this can't keep happening. That goes without saying in a democracy. Citizens can't just be killed and there not be any repercussions, no policy changes at all. It's unacceptable. So currently, there's not much we can do with our current justice system. We have to push for change, otherwise this will keep happening.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.